The throne is shaking, and the King of the South might be facing his most treacherous internal coup yet. For years, the Harris family, led by T.I. and Tiny, has projected an image of a rock-solid hip-hop dynasty, but the facade is crumbling. We aren't just talking about outside allegations anymore. We are talking about a house divided. Zonnique Poulins, Tiny's eldest daughter, has finally broken her silence, and the words she's chosen have sent shockwaves through the industry. While T.I. has spent his career mastering the art of the rebuttal, he might have met his match in 50 Cent. The G-Unit mogul, known for his relentless trolling and take-no-prisoners approach to beef, has just upped the ante. This isn't just a social media post or a passing comment in an interview. 50 Cent is reportedly putting the finishing touches on an explosive documentary that promises to pull back the curtain on the darkest corners of T.I.'s empire. From the snitching allegations that have haunted Tip's reputation to the more recent harrowing claims of misconduct that have surfaced against the couple, 50 Cent is playing the role of the ultimate provocateur. He's digging up receipts that many thought were buried under layers of legal NDAs and industry silence. But the real kicker, the emotional weight of Zonnique's perspective, when the children of a dynasty start speaking out, it's no longer just a he-said-she-said tabloid story. It becomes a reckoning. Tonight, we are diving deep into the trenches of this unfolding war. We're looking at the fractured relationship between a stepfather and daughter, the strategic brilliance and potential malice behind 50 Cent's documentary, and why the hip-hop world is bracing for a fallout that could change the legacy of Grand Hustle forever. This isn't just gossip. This is the dismantling of a legacy, one testimony at a time, to understand why Zonnique's recent statements are so damaging. You have to understand the history of the Harris household. Zonnique hasn't just been a background character, she was the princess of the family hustle. We watched her grow up under T.I.'s strict, often overbearing guidance. However, the tension has been simmering beneath the surface for years. Recently, that tension boiled over. Zonnique's decision to speak out isn't necessarily a loud, screaming match on a podcast. It's the quiet, deliberate distancing and the refusal to defend the indefensible that speaks volumes. The rift began to widen as the legal clouds gathered over T.I. and Tiny, when dozens of women came forward with allegations of sexual misconduct and coercion. The family was expected to stand as a united front, but Zonnique's energy shifted. Sources close to the family suggest that she has struggled with the weight of these headlines, finding it increasingly difficult to reconcile the man she calls Pops with the persona being described in legal filings. Her recent public comments regarding boundaries and personal peace are being interpreted by many as a direct jab at the chaotic environment T.I.'s lifestyle has created. Furthermore, Zonnique's move toward independence hasn't been met with the support one might expect. T.I. has always been a traditionalist, sometimes to a fault, infamously admitting to accompanying his daughter to the gynecologist to check her hymen. That level of control doesn't just vanish, it evolves into resentment. Zonnique is now a mother herself, and her perspective on parenting has shifted radically away from the patriarchal, controlling methods Tip popularized. By choosing to live her life outside of his shadow, she is effectively rejecting the King of the South brand, but the real damage comes from her silence. During T.I.'s most vulnerable moments in the past, the family would flock to the internet to shut down rumors. Now, Zonnique is noticeably absent from the defense team. This quiet defiance provides the perfect opening for an opportunist like 50 Cent. If T.I. cannot keep his own household in order, how can he defend his reputation against an external predator like Curtis Jackson? 50 Cent has been watching this family dynamic closely. He thrives on finding the chink in the armor. And Zonnique's perceived distance from her stepfather is exactly what he needed to validate the narrative of his documentary. 50's documentary isn't just about the allegations, it's about the culture of fear and control that he claims T.I. has cultivated. By highlighting the disconnect between Tip and his children, 50 is painting a picture of a man who is losing his grip on everything he built. The industry is currently divided. Some see Zonnique's stance as a brave step toward healing and breaking generational trauma, while others, the T.I. loyalists, see it as a betrayal. But regardless of which side you take, the optics are devastating. When your own blood, or those you raised as blood, refuses to vouch for your character, the public begins to wonder what they know that we don't. This isn't just about family dinner arguments, it's about the credibility of the Harris name. In a post-Me Too era, as Zonnique continues to build her own brand, she is inadvertently providing the blueprint for others to speak out. She represents a generation that is no longer willing to protect the bag at the expense of their own mental health or moral compass. This internal fracture is the foundation upon which 50 Cent is building his most ambitious takedown to date. He knows that the most effective way to destroy a king is not by attacking his walls from the outside, but by showing that the people inside the castle are already looking for the exit. This brings us to the most dangerous player in this game. While Zonnique is dealing with the emotional fallout, 50 Cent is handling the logistical destruction. He isn't just talking anymore, he's producing. And he's doing it with a level of detail that has the legal teams at Grand Hustle working. Over time, the transition from family tension to industry warfare is where 50 Cent operates best, while Zonnique's distance provides the emotional crack in the foundation. Curtis 50 Cent Jackson is using a sledgehammer on the rest of the structure. For years, the beef between 50 and T.I. was seen as typical hip-hop bravado two titans of the 2000s era, trading jabs over who had more hits or who really ran the streets. But things took a dark, permanent turn when 50 Cent announced he was moving beyond Instagram trolling and into the world of investigative filmmaking. This documentary isn't just a collection of clips, it's being framed as a comprehensive exposure of the Harris legacy. The core of 50 Cent's explosive documentary centers on the one word that can end a career in hip-hop: informant. For over a decade, T.I. has been dodging allegations that his reduced prison sentence in his 2007 federal weapons case was the result of cooperation with the government. While T.I. has consistently denied this, providing explanations about his legal team's prowess and community service deals, 50 Cent claims to have uncovered new documentation. In this documentary, 50 allegedly features interviews with former associates and legal experts who dissect the math of T.I.'s legal victories. By connecting these old rumors to the current climate, 50 is attempting to strip T.I. of his street cred once and for all. But the documentary goes much deeper than old legal files. 50 Cent is reportedly giving a platform to the voices that the mainstream media has been hesitant to fully amplify. We're talking about the individuals involved in the recent civil suits against T.I. and Tiny. By using his massive platform and production resources, 50 is essentially acting as a megaphone. For the accusers, he understands the power of the visual medium. Seeing a person's face as they recount a harrowing experience is far more impactful than reading a transcript from a court filing. This is psychological warfare. 50 knows that even if these cases don't end in a conviction, the court of public opinion is already reaching a verdict. What makes this documentary particularly explosive is the timing. 50 Cent has a history of kicking his rivals when they are down, but he does it with the precision of a surgeon. He waited until the internal family dynamics like Zonnique's public speaking out became visible to the public. He is weaving a narrative that T.I.'s Grand Hustle was exactly that. A hustle designed to project power while hiding a much more sinister reality. The documentary reportedly includes never-before-seen footage from industry, parties, and behind-the-scenes interactions that paint a very different picture of the King of the South than what we saw on reality TV. 50 Cent's strategy is also about dismantling the business. By targeting T.I.'s character so aggressively, he is making it toxic for brands to associate with the Harris name. We've already seen the fallout with the suspension of certain production deals and the distancing of major sponsors. 50 is effectively playing the long game, ensuring that even if T.I. survives the legal battles, his earning potential is permanently crippled. It's a scorched earth policy that only someone with 50 Cent's level of wealth and spite could execute. The documentary also touches on the complex relationship between T.I. and other Atlanta legends. 50 Cent has been reaching out to former Grand Hustle artists, those who feel they were burned by the label or left in the lurch. These ghosts of the past are coming forward to talk about the business practices within the camp. This adds a layer of professional betrayal to the personal scandal. When you combine the snitch narrative, the misconduct allegations, and the bad businessman trope, you have a triple threat attack that is almost impossible to defend against simultaneously. T.I. has attempted to fire back, calling 50 Cent a clout chaser and a bully. But these defenses are falling on deaf ears. Why? Because 50 Cent has perfected the art of documented trolling. He doesn't just say something, he shows a piece of paper, a video clip, or an interview that supports his claim. In the digital age, evidence, even if it's curated with a bias, is king. The documentary is being marketed as the final chapter of the T.I. era, and the hype is reaching a fever pitch as the trailer for this project begins to circulate. In underground circles and social media teasers, the pressure on the Harris family is mounting. Zonnique's refusal to stand by her stepfather during this specific onslaught is perhaps the most damning piece of evidence 50 Cent could have asked for. He doesn't even need to interview her. Her silence is a character in his film. It signals to the audience that if the people who lived in the house won't defend the man, why should the fans? This part of the script shows us that we are no longer dealing with a simple rap beef. This is a multi-million-dollar production aimed at the total deconstruction of a celebrity's life. 50 Cent isn't just a rapper anymore. He's a media mogul who knows how to weaponize information. And as we move into the final phase of this story, we have to look at what happens when the smoke clears. Can a legacy survive this much concentrated fire? Or are we witnessing the end of an era in Atlanta hip-hop? The dust is beginning to settle, but the landscape of Atlanta hip-hop has been permanently altered. As we look at the wreckage of this public feud, the question is no longer whether T.I. can win, but whether he can survive. 50 Cent's documentary, tentatively titled Surviving T.I. and Tiny, isn't just a piece of entertainment. It has become a cultural event that has forced the industry to take a side. For years, T.I. occupied a space of untouchable influence, serving as the bridge between the old-school street legends and the new-school corporate moguls. But that bridge is burning, and the fire was lit from within. The most significant fallout isn't the social media memes or the temporary loss of followers. It's the systematic dismantling of the Grand Hustle brand. We are seeing a Diddy-esque reckoning where the proximity to T.I. and Tiny has become a liability rather than a badge of honor. Major streamers and production houses who once claimed for the Harris family's reality TV ratings are now reportedly putting indefinite holds on future projects. In an era where corporate accountability is at an all-time high, no network wants to be the last one standing on a sinking ship, especially when 50 Cent is the one captaining the iceberg. Then there is the impact on the music. T.I. has been teasing his final album, Kill the King, intended to be a victory lap for one of the most storied careers in the genre. However, the rollout has been completely hijacked by 50 Cent's narrative, instead of discussing his flow, his production, or his lyrical evolution. Every interview and every comment section is flooded with questions about the 20 sexual assault cases and the informant paperwork 50 has been circulating. 50 Cent successfully flipped the script. He made T.I.'s retirement look like an escape rather than a celebration. By timing the documentary buzz to coincide with the album promo, 50 has ensured that the king won't go out on his own terms. But perhaps the most lasting damage is the personal fallout with Zonnique. While part 1 of this script highlighted her speaking out, the aftermath shows a woman who has fundamentally redefined her identity outside of the Harris umbrella. Zonnique's recent solo music and her airtime discussions suggest a woman who is processing her childhood in the spotlight with a new, more critical lens. Her refusal to be a character in T.I.'s defense strategy has emboldened other family members and former associates to also prioritize their own peace over the family's public image. This internal collapse is what makes 50 Cent's documentary so effective. It validates the reality that the household was never as perfect as the reality cameras made it seem. As for 50 Cent, this project cements his status as the final boss of hip-hop media. He has transitioned from a rapper who battles in the booth to a mogul who battles in the documentary space. After the success of his work on Sean Combs' The Reckoning, 50 has found a new formula for power, becoming the unofficial police of the culture. He isn't just seeking entertainment. He is seeking a specific kind of justice that the legal system often fails to provide. By using his resources to amplify victims and expose contradictions, he has made himself more feared than any district attorney. So where does this leave T.I.? The path forward is narrow. He is currently fighting on 3 fronts: a legal front involving civil suits, a professional front involving his legacy and brand deals, and a personal front involving his family's unity. T.I. is a master of the rebuttal, but you cannot talk your way out of a documentary that features 20 different voices saying the same thing. The King of the South title was always built on a foundation of respect and authority. Once that respect is replaced by suspicion, and once that authority is challenged by his own children, the title becomes a burden. The final verdict of this saga won't come from a judge or a jury, but from the fans who have supported T.I. for 2 decades. We are seeing a shift in the cancel culture dynamic. It's no longer about a single mistake. It's about a pattern of behavior that is now being documented for the world to see. 50 Cent didn't invent the allegations, but he organized them into a weapon. And in the digital age, organization is everything. As we conclude this investigation, it's clear that the rivalry between 50 Cent and T.I. has moved past beef and into the realm of a historical shift. We are witnessing the end of an era where a certain type of lifestyle could be hidden behind the glamour of the music industry. Zonnique's decision to speak her truth and 50 Cent's decision to expose his dossier are 2 sides of the same coin. The demand for transparency. The Harris family empire is at its most vulnerable point in history. Whether T.I. can pivot, reinvent himself, or simply fade into a quiet retirement remains to be seen. But one thing is certain: the industry will never look at the King of the South the same way again. 50 Cent promised to expose more, and, by all accounts, he has succeeded in making the world look closer than T.I. ever wanted them to. This is the new reality of hip-hop, where the secrets of the past are only a documentary away from becoming the headlines of today. This isn't just a family feud anymore, it's a full-scale battle for the legacy of the South. But now, I want to hear from you. Do you think T.I. can actually bounce back from 50 Cent's documentary? Or is the Grand Hustle empire officially coming to an end? And what's your take on Zonnique finally speaking out? Is she right to distance herself? Or is this the ultimate family betrayal? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I'm reading every single one. If you found this deep dive insightful, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe to the channel with notifications turned on. You do not want to miss our next update as this story continues to unfold. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.